Here's my audience.
Good evening. My name is Nathaniel Merrill. We are battling an epidemic in this country, an epidemic where veterans every day are taking their lives. Valuable assets to our country, fathers, sons, brothers, are choosing to end their lives out of misery and after battling months and months of PTSD symptoms. The war against veteran suicide starts in our own homes. We have to take certain steps, and we have to support organizations that are trying to reduce that number. One such organization is Hounds For Heroes, right here in Portsmouth, Virginia, whose goal is to save veterans' lives by saving rescue animals from animal shelters, uniting them for the emotional benefits, and getting these veterans back on their feet. Every day, nearly one veteran decides to take his own life through suicide. On social media sites, there is a challenge going around where it's 22 push-ups a day for the 22 veterans a day who are committing suicide. I'm not sure if you've seen that or not, but if you have, that number is inaccurate. It's actually more like 1. The number 22 suicides a day is from the Vietnam era. However, 1 a day is still way too high. Veteran suicides suffering from PTSD is the highest number out of any demographic in this country, and that number has to be reduced. Additionally, there are 3.9 million animals a year who are being put down, euthanized at animal shelters all across the country. Now, besides the tragedy of having some of our companion animals being put down, there also comes an associated cost with those. Now, most of these shelters are nonprofit, and in order to euthanize and then dispose of the body, it's $100 a pop. So when you have 3.9 of that, you do the math, that's a significant hit coming from local budgets. Hounds For Heroes finds dogs at animal shelters who fit the bill for allowing themselves to be trained. They rescue them and they provide intense 6 to 7 months of training in order to release them to the veterans once they've been screened, and that in effect saves 2 lives in the process. The motto for Hounds For Heroes is to enrich the lives of veterans and give second chances to shelter dogs. Now, as I was saying, 3.9 million dogs are at shelters all across the country, so that's basically an unlimited supply of rescue dogs for these veterans. As I've touched on, it's costly to euthanize, and there's surprisingly numerous health benefits of owning an animal. I myself own 2, and at times my blood pressure rises very high because of them, but they calm veterans, they give them a purpose, and then they give them a companion to watch out for them. In particular, these specially trained rescue dogs can sense when a veteran is about to have an anxiety attack due to PTSD, and they are trained to either distract the veteran to stop those symptoms from occurring. They also alert the veteran whenever anyone is approaching them, especially from the rear, because that can often trigger intense emotional responses for the veteran, flashbacks. The number of veterans who are suffering from PTSD is quite high. It's about 1 in 5 who have returned from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. A common misconception is that you have to be in combat in order to be suffering from it. There was a study done, and in fact, in the United States Navy, sailors who did not actually set foot in Iraq and Afghanistan suffered from PTSD symptoms higher than those who were actually boots on ground. So it's a fascinating misconception that there is. I myself have done 2 deployments in the Navy, and I can tell you that it is quite difficult to get back into the swing of daily life once you return from having such a structured environment and having so much responsibility, and then coming to the civilian world where you might not get the same respect that you were getting then. So far, the treatment for these veterans suffering from PTSD is 3.5 times per year higher than treating just a regular military member. So far, it's cost over $2 billion to treat those suffering from PTSD. So you add that to the cost to euthanize, and you're looking at a significant total that can be saved by uniting these 2 groups that are in need. Veterans account for almost 20% of all the suicides in the United States. As I said, that number has to go down. If you're not familiar with PTSD, some symptoms include poor memory, feeling detached, flashbacks, irritability, outbursts of anger, basically inability to function in your daily life. So it's great that Hounds For Heroes has this idea, but does it actually work? A case in point is an E5 Joshua Brown, who returned from Iraq after doing 2 tours and was suffering from intense symptoms of PTSD. Hounds For Heroes united him with a service dog and his symptoms immediately diminished. He was able to have purpose again and return to his daily life, and now is holding down a strong job. What Hounds for Heroes truly needs from us is our financial support. The cost to raise one of these rescue dogs and then to unite them with someone suffering from PTSD is between $15,000 and $20,000, which is a high number. Some of those expenses include kennels, which are $900. The tuition alone for training these dogs is $18,000. You go to GoFundMe.com/Hounds For Heroes. You can make a small donation. Any amount helps when we're trying to save lives. And I need to ask you, if not today, when?